Welcome back to Delicious, and today we want to cook some Russian food, Pelmenis, which are like kind of a dumpling, or you can also call it like a Russian ravioli, and a hell of a work. No, it's not. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible, and it's going to be delicious as always. Okay, let's start with the dough. Here we go. For the dough, unlike Italian raviolis, for example, we don't need so much eggs and oil and something like this. We simply have 300 grams of all-purpose flour. Putting it in a bowl. We're using one egg, a medium-sized one. Just putting it all together. A little bit of water and pinch of salt. Just need to clean my hands, hang on. So, original recipe says no oil at all, which can be then a little bit sticky. So, can just tell you if it's going to be too sticky and you can't even beat it like glue, so just use a little bit of oil before you can't even touch it, because it has to be like a pasta dough. You have to roll it out, you have to form it. So if it's too sticky, we're going to see it later how does it goes. We really need probably some drops of oil, and I use canola oil because olive oil is going to has too much taste itself, so and that's why sunflower, canola oil, something like that, better to use. So now let's add a little bit, like for 300 gram of flour, maximum 100 milliliter like this of water. And then we mix it together and try to make it a pasta dough. Before I put the finger inside, I'm gonna mix it together like this. Quite dry already. Okay. It looks good. It's gonna be enough. Now, the part where you use your hands, and as you can see, it's like the original recipe. You don't need really oil like the Russians do. You know what, guys? I prefer oil because this is for me too sticky, and I don't want to use too much flour as it's going to be quite dry. You see, I just put a little bit on it, and it's going to be much nicer, or much better, much better to use, because otherwise you have to add more flour to it and then it dries out the dough. So original recipes not always mean it's so good. Make it more efficient with a better for you. So you see, it doesn't even stick to the pot, just a little bit. So we're gonna let it rest a little bit, and probably gonna put it in some sellotape, something like that. Okay, need some more flour. Okay. We'll be back shortly. Okay, I had to put a little bit of flour on it to make it perfect. And I'm gonna put it a little bit in the fridge while I'm preparing the filling. So the question is where this recipe is actually come from. They say it's originally from Siberia. Might be true. I have some Russian roots in my family, so I learned to make those pelmenis since I was little. I remember those days where you were sitting around the kitchen table and had to do those things, fill it, like the whole day we had to fill up and prepare it like for months. And my mom used to tell me that those things really were invented by Siberians because not necessarily because they were poor people, but it was quite cold there, and so they could prepare it for like over the winter, and they just could put it underground, their outdoor fridges, and yeah, freeze it. So easy food but good food because there's lots of meat in it and protein. So delicious food but easy. As you can see, I mean, it's just flour, 1 egg, water. Everyone has this in the fridge, and some mince. Later the filling, mince, onion, some herbs, and then you eat it with a little bit of sour cream. Sour cream the Russians always had. So I just put it quickly into the fridge, and then we're gonna prepare the filling. Onions, my favorite. Be back. Okay, before we go into the filling, I want to talk about how to do them. If you see the picture, then you see that they're not like ravioli. You put them together and just cut them. So you have to fold them in a special way too, that they look like pelmeni. It can take quite a while, and who watched the video before knows that I don't like spending hours and hours in the kitchen because it's just not possible. So if you like to do pelmenis, it's worth it to buy a thing like this, which I show you later. It creates like 30 pelmeni at once. If not, and you just want to try out this recipe, you don't need to buy this. And I show you as well how you fold this, how to do pelmeni per hand. So this is just to make life easy. If you're gonna do the filling, I'm using mince, beef mince. Traditionally they used pork, which in South Africa not that common. So I'm using, like I said, beef mince, and if you just cook it, it's gonna turn out dry. So hello baby, little kitchen helper. So yeah, beef mince. It is if you cook it just in boiled water, what's happening later with the pelmenis to make them done, it will turn out too dry. So to prevent this from happening, because you want to have a delicious meal, you can use rather breadcrumbs to add to your mince, or I'm using the traditional way, just 2 slices of toast, and soak them a little bit in milk. Gives a nice fluffy flavor, and before adding then the beef mince in it, that will make the filling just a little bit, will make the filling quite nice and fluffy. And we want, like I said, I prefer delicious meals, and not, especially when you stand in the kitchen like for 2 hours with everything, would be quite annoying if it turns out shit. So we just yeah, I'll show you just now. Just turning the camera just now. How does it look like? It's a bit yucky work, but that's normal for the kitchen, right? Okay, be back just now. So here we go. The glibber is ready. So this is all the two toast slices. They're just soaked in the milk. Now just make them nice and squishy. So now we can add the mince, beef mince. Also for people which don't like pork. A nice alternative, or for religious reasons, whatever. Fully understandable. Get a fresh spoon. My favorite onions, I pre-cut them today. because who watched my video with the chili knows that I really don't like onions, and didn't want it to cry like a baby again. So we need also, oops, it was way too much. Good pinch of salt. Remember, we can't spice this later as soon as it's in the dough. It's just not possible. So it has to be a certain taste already. And yeah, so it's important to put enough spices in. Put also black pepper and some of my favorite vegetable stock. Just a little bit. You remember? Vegetable stock. What's the German one? I just take the hands. Always works better. I should have taken my ring off, but okay. Wash it then proper, and let's just mix it. That everything goes through. That the toast, the bread, soaks into the beef mince as well. Everything has a nice consistency before we use it then as a filling. You can also put, if you like, you can put some herbs in, like parsley, chives also worked nice. Cilantro if you like, you can put it in. Okay, let me try. Don't panic, I just bought it fresh today, so don't do this when it lies in the fridge for like a couple of days. Don't eat tray mince. But if you buy it fresh and you know that they just, you know, made it this day, then it's fine. Should be fine. So it needs a little bit more salt, but this is always so difficult with mince. If you don't taste it, and especially like if it's used as a filling, which you can't try out before cooking, I need to wash this. It's not so easy. That's why I prefer even and rather buy it fresh and give it a try. It's really important because especially when you want to cook something nice and fancy and then have guests over, that imagine you have a, you know, the dinner table set nice and everything is nice and fancy, and then the dish is just tastes like nothing. That's not gonna how this works. So please try it. Now it's good. I put some garlic on the side, and I'm deciding now if I put garlic in or not. I think it's so good that I don't even need it. So we keep it, because in the original recipe also, can't even remember my mom ever put garlic in. So we just leave it and putting it on the side. Consistency absolutely beautiful. It's also easy later to get, like, you see, little filling to put this like little balls into this pelmeni. Actually no more. And yeah, it's gonna be perfect. Yeah, so we're gonna wait now a little bit, and we're gonna look how our dough is gonna look like. So filling is done. The dough was resting, and yeah, funny thing is, I think wherever you are, I think in most of the countries you can buy those things. I live in South Africa, and unfortunately I can't buy this here, so I'm doomed. I have to do most of the things which I like from scratch, and I thought maybe, just maybe, you want to do it by yourself and don't know how, so that's why my channel. So let's see how the dough looks like, and I think quite good. So let's start to roll it out, and then I show you first how to make it by hand. And if you make like quite a lot, because in one plate, to really get satisfied afterwards, and not just having it as an entree and having it as a main dish, you should have at least like 15 in your plate. So now count how many guests you're gonna have for your dinner or in your family. So you need quite a lot. That's why it takes quite a while. Like I said, I remember sitting the whole Saturday morning for hours and hours around the kitchen table and doing those things. My mom was lucky, we were 4 people in the house and could do that. So, but it still took the whole morning till lunchtime. And now I'm alone in the kitchen, and so it will take hours and hours. That's why I was actually quite happy to find this thing. It calls a Pelmenis, or you can call it also Pelmeni maker, something like this. Don't worry, I'm quite new. I'm not into affiliate marketing yet, so I'm not earning any money from this, but maybe one day. So this will save you a lot of time, because these are like 30 at once. So you can, they're gonna just fall out, and then you can put them in the pot and cook them and boil them ready while you make the other. So this is quite nice. It saves a lot of time, which is, you know me, quite important. So let's roll out the dough, and I'll show you how to sit down. Okay. So here we go. We need some flour, that it not sticks on the surface. This is what I like about cooking. Just, you know, the feel the food to prepare it. And yeah. So we need also some for the completely old-fashioned. We need to put this on here. So let's see how this looks like. It's looking amazing. What you could also do, I tried it the first time, and you could do it a pasta maker, you know, where you roll out the dough and make it long. You can. I prefer actually this way, it goes much quicker. Let me get a knife to cut it in portions. Because we won't need it now. Okay. So let's get some flour on it. See, Russian cooking is more the basics: flour, water. That's it. Also, I was thinking making some to show you how to make the blinis, and I was searching for recipes just to see what are people think what blinis are, and I was actually terrified how blinis look like. In America, for example, they make it with yeast, which is absolutely not true. So I think next time I'm gonna show you an absolute funny dish. You rather hate it or you're gonna love it. And it's also from a region in Russia. And but this I'm gonna explain you then in the video when I make it. Today we focus on the Pelmenis. It has to be, you have to roll it out at least 3 to 4 millimeters thick maximum. But the consistency of the dough is absolutely perfect. Oops. So to make it now per hand, you use just a glass like this. It's like around about 5 centimeters diameter wide. So, and then you just cut a piece out. Gonna show you. Then you take oops, it's blocking the camera. Okay, we put it here. The filling. Let's widen it a little bit. So, just use a tiny little amount of filling, like this. Yeah, absolutely perfect. You still need space that you can close it easily and to fold it. Otherwise, if you pull it too much, it's gonna break loose. And then when you cook it, boil it later in boiling salt water, everything will come out, and this is not what you want. Otherwise, in your plate, then they will like floating around just dough pieces and filling pieces, which is not what you want. So you pull it up a little bit, fold it, close it. See, your dough is perfect. You don't even need water. Then you close it. Close it complete. Make sure, like I said, that no holes are in there. So yeah, so and then you just, if it's closed, take it like this on this end, and then you just close it up. Looks like more like a tortellini, as you can see, like this. Store it on a plate with some flour on it and wait till you can put them all then in salted water. So we are back to make the dough for the Pelmeni maker. Remember to make it thinner than if you make it by hand, because we're using 2 layers of dough. So we have to make 1 round layer of dough which has the size of your Pelmeni maker. Yeah, here we go. Has flour on it, and then we place it. Oops. You place it over it and slightly press it over it. The dough moves a little bit, so we want to reach. Oh no, great. Need some flour on my hands. So pull it a little bit, and maybe adjust a little bit that it doesn't move. So otherwise, you're wasting space. Just watch that it doesn't make any holes. So, a little bit more. A bit more here. Gentle, gentle. So. Can feel it. Looks like this. You can see the holes, and then we put the filling in. So as you can see, I started to make the outer line first, then the dough definitely is going to keep it placed by itself. So now you can make the inner circle, and then I show you how to make the second layer and how it's going to fall out easily. Here we go. It's full of filling, and now we're gonna make the second layer of dough on the top, and then it will hopefully fall out. And then you still have to make like at least another 3 of those to satisfy my guests. I have to use my hands first, otherwise the dough's gonna move. And then you use pressure. Oops. Oops, sorry. You can see already with the dough comes off. Yeah, much more easily than the first one. Please. Aha, much better. Put them on the side. Hallelujah. Oh. Quite happy now. So let's put them all on the little tray and then we can cook them, and then this is gonna look like. So behind me you can see now the amount I made today out of 3 times with a Pelmeni maker, which is quite a lot. So I'm gonna have to clean up my messy kitchen now. I wanted just to show you out of the amount of 500 grams of mince, I still have some left. Gonna see, it's here. I gotta make now 1 or 2 burger patties out of it, but I probably just gonna make little meatballs and put them into the water with egg. So it gives a nice flavor and it's also nice to eat. Okay, so let me clean my kitchen and then I'm coming back to you and when it's cooked, or while it's cooking, that you can see how this looks like. Okay. So camera is working again, and now water is boiling. Where I put the pelmeni in now, it's salt water. We have to put the pelmeni in while the water is boiling. That's the best, otherwise they're gonna glue together. It's like pasta. So let me get 2 trays. Oh. Oops. And then I'm gonna put them one by one, oops, in this water. And because it's freshly made dough, they're gonna be, and they're tiny, they're gonna be ready quite quick. And like if you fry something, they're coming up to the surface, so you can you know then when they're ready. I'll show you in a minute as soon they're in. So I have a hungry family, so we're gonna use definitely a couple, but don't put too much in it, otherwise it's gonna be just like they're gonna stuck together, and we don't want this. So let me just show you how does it looks like in the pot. Here we are. Water is boiling and the first one's coming up again. Can put some more in. So just want to show you the amount. Just make sure that they're not stick on the bottom. And let them cook at least 5 minutes, that the meat cooks through. We don't want to have medium rare pelmenis. This not works like this. So as you can see, I have there in the pan already some garlic and some onion chopped. You can see how it's supposed to look like. To take it definitely out, almost. So we can lower the heat. Like from 9, I lowered it down to 6 now, like on medium heat. Let them in a little bit more, like for another 2 minutes. But this is how they look like when they're almost ready. You can take them almost out. While I'm waiting in the pan for the butter to melt. Ew. We're gonna add then later some of the pelmenis. Can make actually most of them as one dish. And then Russian dishes always work well with a dill. Dill is definitely a Russian herb which has to be added to almost every dish if you make savory food. So especially pelmenis, they won't taste the same if you don't add fresh dill. Fresh dill you have to do, definitely. It won't taste the same. So no matter what you do, you can put into this pelmeni as filling whatever you like. You can do chicken, you can do lamb, you can do, I don't know, you can even try ricotta and spinach, something like this. But as topping, it won't taste the same, believe me. So we can see now the frying pan. Butter is melting nicely, so looks good, and the onions look good. So we're gonna take now some of the pelmenis out without the water. And adding them. Taking them all out now. Okay. Stir it. Just slightly get some color. Putting some fresh tomato on it. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And that's basically it for the first dish. This water is boiling again, so we can put the rest in. So this is done. I'm gonna take this off the heat And this we can dish already, and I'm gonna show you just now how does it gonna look like while I put here cooking the rest, and then I show you just now what I'm gonna do with the rest. So you can see I'm putting more of the pelmenis in, and put the heat up again, that we bring them to boil. And so the one dish I showed you what we're gonna do, I just add then sour cream and dill, like I said, on it. And the other way how to eat pelmeni traditionally is actually you just use a little bit of this cooking water, add salt and pepper, and also creme fraiche, sour cream and dill, and you eat it like this. It's quite delicious. I prefer it like this, the traditional way. I grew up like this. So from everything what I prepared is this now left. So this is the first variation how you can eat pelmenis. Lots of dill, fresh tomato, salt, pepper, some onion, some fresh garlic, and I promise you it's gonna be just amazingly delicious. Remember I told you I'm gonna have the first bite. Even though I don't like this variation so much, I prefer the other one with the water, but if you cook it so much, then you have to try. Really good. Really nice. The toast, you remember, the soaked in milk, makes the filling absolutely fluffy inside. It's not dry, it's absolutely gorgeous. Quite proud of myself. So this I'm gonna leave for someone else, and I have to take now the rest out of the dish that I can show you the other plate. So the last pelmeni out of the pot, as you can see, it's with water, the cooked water, hardcore Russian food. So, and you have to put lots of salt in it, and pepper, and of course dill, lots of dill. And this is how you eat. So for beginners, you just try the first dish. This is how I convince all the time my guests, and they quite like it. It's delicious, I promise you that. I hope you had fun watching the video, and if you like it, then please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Okay, if you have questions, just drop me an email or comment below. I'm gonna answer everything. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon again. Maybe again this week with another Russian dish, and probably also maybe German cheesecake, something like this. We see. See you soon, guys. Love you, and stay safe, please.